All right. Hey, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. Yeah, great to have you checking in today. You know at Altcoin Daily we do daily videos on everything altcoin, everything cryptocurrency, and I think this video today it provides a lot of value to you. Whether you're a crypto enthusiast or an investor, you're going to like this video because something I try and teach on our channel here, Altcoin Daily, is as an investor, you have to try and think to the future. You have to try and think 2 or 3 moves ahead. And so something I try and talk about every once in a while is how or when, what will cause the next bull run to happen. And we talk about all different kinds of things here. But today, what I want to talk about is the stock market. The fact is, it's been going up for 9 years. It's overdue for a crash. I mean, it's inevitable. The stock market, it goes in cycles. Nobody's questioning that there will be a crash very soon. Now, some people think it's going to be one of the worst crashes in our lifetime. So we're going to start out this video talking about that. And then after that, we're going to head over here and talk about how now, for the first time ever, well, here's the thing. When the stock market crashes, when people start thinking it's going to happen, what happens? Big money tries to take their money out of the stock market and put it somewhere else where the money will retain its value. And now for the first time ever, Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrencies have become a possible, viable safe haven for big money to put their money into for it to retain its value. Now, is this one of the things that will lead us to the cryptocurrency revolution that will cause a bull run to happen? I think it might be, but we'll be talking about that later. Let's get into it. And if at any point you find value in our video today, give it a like. Helps us grow as a channel. I think you're going to like videos like this. And I want to start off, we're talking about the stock market first. The crash is overdue. Now, Jim Rogers, it's this guy right here. Think of him as Warren Buffett, except without as much celebrity. And what you need to know about this guy is when he talks, investors listen. He's one of the most famous investors in the world, and he's known for his no-nonsense style of investment wisdom. So he gets interviewed right here. We're going to watch about 3 minutes of this. And it's pretty interesting stuff. Let's listen.
One of the things I've always admired about you as an investor is that you don't talk about what should be. You figure out what is going to be, and then you do that. So what is going to be with respect to the stock market? What's going to happen?
I learned very early in my investing careers, I better not invest in what I want. I better invest in what's happening in the world. Otherwise, I'll be broke, dead broke. Well, what's going to happen is this is going to continue. Some stocks in America are turning into a bubble. The bubble's going to come, then it's going to collapse. And you should be very worried. But Henry, this is good for you because somebody has to report. So you have job security. You're a lucky soul.
Well, yeah, TV ratings do seem to go up during crashes, but then they completely disappear when everyone is obliterated. So nobody is hoping for that. But so when is this going to happen?
Later this year or next.
Later this year or next.
Yeah. Write it down.
And what will trigger it?
Well, it's interesting because these things always start where we're not looking. In 2007, Iceland went broke. And people said, Iceland, is that a country? They have a market? And then Ireland went broke, and then Bear Stearns went broke, and then Lehman Brothers went broke. They spiral like that. Always happens where we're not looking. I don't know. It could be an American pension plan that goes broke, and many of them are broke, as you know. It could be some country we're not watching. It could be all sorts of things. It could be war. Unlikely to be war, but it's going to be something. When you're watching Business Insider, and you see, that's so interesting. I didn't know that company could go broke. It goes broke. Send me an email, okay, and then I'll start watching.
And how big a crash could we be looking at?
It's going to be the worst in your lifetime.
I've had some pretty big ones in my
I
lifetime.
know
It's long.
It's going to be the biggest in my lifetime, and I'm older than you. No, it's going to be serious stuff. It's going to be very. We've had financial problems in America. Let's use America. Every 4 to 7 years since the beginning of the Republic. Well, it's been over 8 since the last one. This is the longest, or the second longest in recorded history. So it's coming. And the next time it comes, in 2008 we had a problem because of debt. Henry, the debt. Now, that debt was nothing compared to what's happening now. In 2008, the Chinese had a lot of money saved for a rainy day. It started raining, they started spending the money. Now even the Chinese have debt, and the debt is so much higher. The Federal Reserve, the central bank in America, balance sheet is up over 5 times since 2008. It's going to be the worst in my lifetime too. Be worried.
I am worried.
Good.
Can the Fed rescue us? Can anybody?
All right. Very interesting stuff. Let's talk about what we just heard. Now, he said that, and we know this, whether it's the crypto market, whether it's the stock market, it goes in cycles. And he mentioned how the cycles there's usually a crash or correction every 4 to 8 years. And I don't know if you heard what he said, but 9 years now, we've been in this a bull run in the stock market for about 9 years, so the crash is inevitable. And one of the reasons he thinks that it might be one of the worst in our lifetime is because, part of what caused the crash back in 2008 was just the worldwide debt. And since then, the debt everywhere in the world has skyrocketed. So it seems like the crash might be bigger than ever. You guys should watch this whole video. Make sure you like the video. And let's get into this article, because he's not the only one. This article is on time.com, and we're in the money section. It's titled Just Around the Bend. This is when the stock market will crash, according to 5 famous investors. So I thought this was pretty interesting because it really gave their point of view really well. So the first guy we're going to be looking at is David Stockman. And what I like about this article is that they say who these people are, when they expect the worst, and then also their reasoning. And they all have different reasoning. I mean, to boil it down to the most simple terms, I mean, the fact is that you can't go 9 years going up without expecting a major correction or crash. I mean, that's simply put why the crash is going to happen. Anyways, let's get into it. So this guy, David Stockman, who is he? He's the former budget director of the Reagan White House. He's the former investment banker with Salomon Brothers and a former private equity investor. And when to expect the worst. He says it is imminent. There is surely a doozy just around the bend. And his reasoning, Stockman expects, quote, an epic monetary and fiscal policy collision, he told CNBC. On the one hand, the recent tax cuts enacted by Congress are likely to help push the federal budget deficit to nearly $1 trillion next year. So he's talking about the debt as well. At the exact same time, the Federal Reserve is starting to unwind its sizable bond portfolio. Yet, investors seem to be in denial, he said, adding that the market is whistling past the graveyard. So he thinks a lot of people are in denial about what's going to happen. Now let's take a look at this other big-time guy, Scott Minerd. Who is he? He is the Global Chief Investment Officer and Chairman of Investments for Guggenheim Partners. And he was asked, when do you expect the worst? He said 2009, quote, the markets are potentially on a collision course for disaster. How about this guy? This is a big-time guy, Paul Tudor Jones. Who is he? He's a famed hedge fund manager and founder of the Tudor Group. He is credited for having called the October 1987 market crash. They asked him, when do you expect the worst? He says, as soon as next year, quote, we are replaying an age-old storyline of financial bubbles that have been played many times before. And his reasoning? We have the strongest economy in 40 years at full employment. The mood is euphoric, but it is unstable and comes with costs such as bubbles in stocks and credits. And so he's saying we're in the euphoria stage right now. We've been going up for 9 years. Everybody's talking about how great the stock market is. The crash is inevitable. How about this guy, Ray Dalio? Who is he? Famed investor and founder of Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund. When to expect the worst? By 2020. I think we are in a pre-bubble stage that could go into a bubble stage. His reasoning? The chance of the U.S. economy suffering a recession before the next presidential election is around 70%, Dalio said at a recent appearance at the Harvard Kennedy School's Institute of Politics. The influx of cash into the market, both due to Trump's tax cuts and future initiatives like an infrastructure bill, combined with a strong economy, will force the Federal Reserve to raise rates to combat inflation. That's never an easy task for the Fed. The risk of recession in the next 18 to 24 months are rising, wrote Dalio. Keep in mind, though, that the stock market has historically anticipated recession by 6 to 12 months, so the real selling could begin well before that. And that's something we're going to talk about once we get into cryptocurrencies possibly being a safe haven. People who are smart, like these investors, are going to see the crash happening 6 to 12 months before it really does happen, and they're going to want to pull their money out and put it someplace else. How about this guy, John Hussman? Who is he? President, Hussman Investment Trust, and a well-known contrarian investor. When to expect the worst? It's anyone's guess, But when the bear does emerge from hibernation, expect a market loss in the stock market on the order of 60%, which is huge in the stock market. His reasoning? Hussman has warned about a market crash for a couple years now, as stock valuations reach highs not seen since 2000, right before the dot-com bubble popped. So, as we just saw, many of these investors, the crash, it's inevitable, but many of these guys think it could be a very, very big crash. Now, what I really want to talk to you guys about, cryptocurrency. I read a couple of these articles, and let me talk to you guys about why I think the reasons why traditional investors will turn to cryptocurrency. See, when the stock market starts losing value, people and businesses, they're going to be looking for a place to put their money in so they can retain their value, as I mentioned. So traditionally, the place to move your money has been precious metals. Like in 2008, that was, a stock market crash. Some people put their money in gold and silver, because when the stock market crashed in the past, a lot of money went into precious metals because those retain value well. Now, what's interesting, check this out, is that no cryptocurrencies, not even Bitcoin, were around during the last crash in 2008. Bitcoin was created in 2009, and it definitely was not a viable option to invest in at the time. So we have yet to see what could happen. So, what's the key here, guys? Let's talk about what really is the key. What's the trillion-dollar question? Well, the question is this. When the crash happens, will there be enough positive sentiment towards cryptocurrency for investors to believe that it's a viable, safe haven option for them? Now, I don't know, but I think there has probably never been a better time for this all to align, because this is what I've been thinking, and you guys tell me what you think. In the past year, we've seen companies like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, companies like that start recommending cryptocurrency as investments. They've created actual trading desks, infrastructure that are all set up to be on-ramps for big money to enter the market. Also, governments are discussing reasonable regulations, so that's also something to consider. Some think, so this is what a lot of people think this right now, that some people think that the crypto bull run, it's not going to happen until the CFTC and the SEC define their thoughts on cryptocurrency and create some reasonable regulations. And what I'm saying is this. We will see both of those things happen possibly. What if we see the perfect storm that leads us into the cryptocurrency revolution? Think about this. So maybe by 2019 or 2020, the CFTC defines their thoughts on cryptocurrency and creates reasonable regulations around the same time. And around the same time, the stock market goes through its long overdue crash. Hey, let's go further. Maybe by that time, crypto will just get a little bit user-friendlier, a little bit easier to use, so people will be more inclined to adopt it. Wow. Suddenly investing in cryptocurrency is looking very good. Suddenly, cryptocurrency is a viable, safe haven option. So that's what I think. I think we're in 2018 right now. I think over this year, over 2019, leading us into 2020, we will see a culmination of things happening. There will be a crash in the market. People will be looking for a new safe haven to put their money into. At that time, cryptocurrency, the CFTC and the SEC will hopefully have defined their thoughts on cryptocurrency a little bit more to give big money an opportunity to really consider it as a viable option. Also, around the same time, all these companies that we like, if we go to coinmarketcap.com, all these crypto companies that we're rooting for will have launched their mainnets, will have completed many things on the roadmap, and will have created just a little bit more of a user-friendly space for cryptocurrency. Could this all lead to the bull run? Hey, I hope it does. I think it will. I think this is a good thing. Let me know what you guys think at the bottom of this video. Thank you guys very much. This has been what I wanted to talk about today. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. And yeah, see you tomorrow.